Hi, everyone. Welcome to A New World, New Mind, to our new episode. Today, I have my co-founder, Cynthia Maselli, joining me. Hi, Cynthia.
Hi. So excited to be here again.
Yeah, we're glad to have you again. I love talking to you. You guys, we just wanted to take a moment and, today's topic is a big one. There's a lot of things going on in the world right now. There's a lot of things going on in our country and other countries, and we really want to take the time to kind of address how everyone's feeling. We want to stand by you. We're here for you. There's a lot of emotions going on right now all across the board, and Cynthia and I are here to tell you that we stand by you, and we're here to support. We're here to help you through anything that you need. And today's topic is called dealing with uncertainty and how to get through all these times where we don't know what's happening, and minute by minute, right, Cynthia? This is literally happening minute by minute. So we want to talk about it, help you get through it, see a little bit clearer. So we're going to talk about how to deal with constant change, right?
Absolutely. I think one of the keys for that is definitely just kind of opening the conversation about resiliency and just what it is to be resilient. I think that's so critical in this time. You know, I I want to encourage everyone that we are a lot stronger than what we think we are, than what we feel ourselves to be. I know for us moms, just the thought of what is it like to give birth, it seems like such a big, scary thing. But until you go through it, you honestly feel like you're a superhuman for what you just did. And I believe that, you don't have to give birth to realize that. You can look back in your life and just think about all the things that you've overcome,
Abs-
right? I mean, you know that firsthand stuff, right? With your own situation with your brother. Um, we've all experienced traumatic things, really dark, heavy things, unfortunately, at least the most of us. And it's it's there so we can look back and draw strength from and remind ourselves that we are capable and that, the world continues to go on and we can choose how we want to respond. And I love the definition of resilience because it means the capacity to recover quickly from difficulties. And
Absolutely.
that's going to look different for everyone.
Absolutely. I mean, listen, we were not raised to think that this was going to happen in 2020. I mean, parents are feeling, I know my parents are going nuts right now. I mean, I feel for my nieces when this is all over with their, all of us are not trained to deal with this. So everybody needs to give themselves a little bit credit. Just, it's okay. We didn't know this was going to happen, but we need to learn from our mistakes, and we need to be strong, and we need to stand together, and we need to realize that everything we do right now counts.
Mhm.
Everything. Everything from the morning you wake up to the night. We need to be careful. You need to learn from our country's mistakes. I mean, we just need to be minute by minute adapting to everything that's happening. We need to start being very logical. Emotions are extremely high. Guys, suicide rates are through the roof right now. And I can't tell you and express to you that the reason is because when you get overwhelmed by these emotions and the uncertainty of the unknown, right, Cynthia? Like,
Yeah.
because we don't know what's happening even an hour from now. We're watching it on the news, you're watching it around the world, we don't know. And it's causing panic. And you start to feel your world closing in on you. And that's what happened with my trauma. And it's, you just feel the walls are closing in. This is massive. This is way bigger, right? And so we need to really understand how to adapt quickly, minute by minute, get on your toes. It's like watching a scary movie. You gotta move, you gotta be able to adapt to everything. And Cynthia and I were talking about it. Our hearts go out to everything that's going on and everyone. We stand together. This is huge. We stand together, but no buts. But we want to make sure that everyone's feeling okay. You guys, we need to start attaching logic with our emotion. We need to refocus, and you need to stand by you need to really refocus and rechannel what you're going through, understand what you're going through, be empathetic, be there for the people around you. But Cynthia, you were talking about how you can't help others if you're not in a mental state you know
Absolutely. I mean, it's the whole oxygen mask theory. You can't give somebody else oxygen first if you don't put it on yourself. And it's so important that we get a rest, as difficult as that may be right now, but do what you need for yourself in this moment to just um, get that energy back, to be able to get that hope back. I think that when we deplete ourselves of our basic and most essential resources, not sleeping enough, not drinking enough water, not eating good or healthy or any meals, we can't, that's essentially killing us, and it's depleting us of all our resources. I mean, how does somebody have hope? How can someone give encouragement? How can someone do anything if you don't feel good? And I mean, when we have a cold or a flu, that's the last time. That's the least of the times that we ever want to go extend a helping hand. We can't. We have to first bring ourselves back to life, and that's so crucial. You've talked about this before about making a checklist, the basic things, taking a shower, brushing your teeth. You know, so much of this war, if I can say it that way, is in our mind. I mean, I'm not going to take away from what's happening. There is an actual physical war happening.
We're talking about physical, yeah.
Yeah, physical. But we also have it mentally, right? It's the way that we're processing what we're seeing, what we're taking in. And if we look around at other countries where civil unrest and unrest of all kinds is their normal, and I visited, orphanages before in a different country, and that inspired me, to be honest, because I look at these kids who have never known what it's like to have a family, to have a safe place. Their place that they're in isn't what anybody really here in the United States that are privileged to be able to have a home, have running water, have electricity, no matter what that looks like. These kids are just so grateful in those times. But going back to being resilient, it's a
Yeah,
mindset, right? But it's also just, it's an opportunity to really pay attention to what we can do, right?
absolutely.
It's an opportunity. I mean, for myself, I'm raising my son, and I look at this world and I go, what is he going to walk into when he's 18 even, or when he's out of school? I mean, let alone just now as in elementary school.
Well, and that's the thing. I think the problem is that we're worrying. We spend so much time worrying about the
Yes,
unknown.
exactly.
And even my parents, bless their hearts, they're even doing it. And it's scary for all. I mean, I'm a grown adult. My parents are still worried. It never ends. But the thing is that we spend so much time worrying
Mhm.
about the unknown
Yes.
instead of focusing on what we do know. And I want everybody to hear that. You need to focus on what we do know right now. We do know that there's a massive problem that needs to be
Mhm.
fixed. There's a way to do it. There's a way to handle the situation. Everybody's doing the best they can. I don't want to get too much into this, but I feel that in order for us to feel safe in our own minds and to
Mhm.
keep any of us or any of you from feeling suicidal, from feeling overwhelmed, from feeling like you wanted to get on that spaceship, because I know I did, and go to that space station with them, we need to be real with ourselves. We each are here for a purpose. We were all born not by choice. Okay, let's be clear. So
Yeah.
we all have a purpose. We're supposed to be here.
Yeah.
Okay. And however you use your words and your life is up to you. But we are here to protect you from your worst enemy, which is you, and the way that you think about yourself and the way that you allow the negative and the evil that's happening and around the world and all the things that are, we're seeing. And it's awful, right? Like, there's a huge problem, and our hearts go out to everyone. And I think that right now this episode is very much based on not being your worst enemy. You need to really focus on what can you control right now. You can
Yes.
control what you watch, you can control how you act, you can control how you speak to other people. There's bullying going on right now. And I think everybody, we need to remember, we just got out of a pandemic where we were told to bully each other, right? We were told to tattletale and all this stuff. And that was what Cynthia and I talked about last week. And right now, God forbid anybody has an opinion on anything, or like I got bullied on Instagram like 5 minutes ago from, you know, it just, I'm not even gonna bring it up. But I mean, just for me saying one little thing. And I think that right now we need to be kind to each other. Stop bullying one another. You don't know what race someone is. You just leave it alone. Just be kind to one another. Be empathetic, and don't worry about the unknown. Worry about what you do know. Act appropriately. Behave yourself. Be nice to yourself. Like Cynthia said, you need to get sleep. It's hard to sleep. I mean, LA's Iraq, right? And around the world's Iraq, and it's scary.
All the major
But
cities. Yeah.
yeah, focusing on yourself what can you do to make a difference peacefully? What can you do to help yourself? Checklist, great thing. Take a shower, take a bath, relax, get off social media, take a break. Don't panic, don't go into hysteria, because I'm telling you, suicide is surrounded by the unknown, the panic of feeling alone. And right now, the world is on flames, and people are just, you
Yeah.
know, scared.
And I think also to focus on hope,
Hope.
right? I mean, I love, there's a quote I love from Martin Luther King where he says, we must accept finite disappointment. Finite is just temporary, really, but never lose infinite hope. And, you know, you and I have known suicidal people, and what is the worst enemy for them is feeling like they have absolutely no hope. Like nothing's going to get better, nothing's going to change. It's always going to be this way, like just complete helplessness. And that's why we're here. That's why Drew's movement started, is because we don't want somebody else to feel this way.
Yeah.
And as you mentioned, suicide rates are going up. I mean, we just got out of the pandemic again, and then we're faced with this, but we really are resilient people. We just have to take a moment, take a deep breath, do the basics, and choose what you focus on. And like you were saying, choose how you respond instead of react, right? Because react is right from emotions. We don't want to battle with emotions. We don't want to fight with emotions. You can't get anywhere.
No.
Anyone who's married knows this. Anyone
Yeah.
in a relationship knows this,
Dated anyone knows this. Yeah.
right? I mean, you're not going to win by your emotions. But what happens when they subside, right? You can think logically. Then you can get a plan of action. You can get strategy. And we need that, yes, in the world, and we need that in our own lives. And, even as a mom, yeah, I mean, automatically I think, oh my gosh. But I also think, what am I doing to help my son to be prepared for this world?
Right.
And I mean, I even teach him basic things, right? From when he was little, I taught him respect for everybody, right? And I teach him, even with kids that have had, um, you know, their learning is different than his, right? And sometimes it's noticeable, sometimes it's not. And so I've learned that my son has become very curious, and he may ask me a question or two, but in those moments, I love it. There's no judgment from him. He
Yeah.
literally loves on, and my son,
Yeah.
he loves the kid just as they are, and he tries to interact with them, and he tries to understand them. And tying back to what you're saying about the bullying, if we want to have the conversations, which we should, at home first, everything starts at home. And so have the conversations at home, but also when you want to have the conversations, be willing to listen. Listening is huge in communication. Otherwise, it's not communication.
No. And right now, everyone listening, we needed to evolve. Okay. We needed to learn. We needed to grow. Things are happening for a reason.
Mhm.
Okay. Regardless of what that reason is, and unfortunate as it is, we all have a purpose in life. And I will give you an example of what I mean by this. My older brother was the last human being you ever thought would have committed suicide. And looking back now of his life and how hard his life was always, he was dealt lemons. Like, and I always wonder, like, man, why is your life so difficult? Like, are you doing this? Or like what is happening? But
Yeah.
his purpose, what he did, okay, as unfortunate as it was, and I would rather have my brother sitting next to me than have Drew's moment, let's be clear. But what he did sparked a ripple effect, and it caused me to wake up. It caused me to understand this is a problem. We need to save lives. We need to do this. The same thing's happening around the world right now. Things that are happening are called ripple effects. They still stand a purpose, right? And we need to know what that purpose is, respect it, evolve, learn, grow, you know, learn from the past mistakes that our founding, whoever made, and not repeat them. And right now we're seeing a lot of history being repeated, and the way we're reacting is different. Not maybe not for the better or worse, but like logic. We're 2020. We are very smart individuals. We have tools, techniques, technology. Like we need to come together as a family, as human beings, because there's only one world and one world only. And that's a terrifying thing if you look at it right now. When your whole world, and I think that's why suicide is so intense, there's nowhere to hide. Like we had to leave LA. And when we got to the city that I'm in right now, we were like, man, we can't, like, this is, it's everywhere, right? And so You just have to think logically what to do. And guys, the whole point, constant change. Don't be afraid of change. Change is great. Changes can be positive. They're not always negative. We were not taught in school, this is what you do when this happens. No, they taught us math that we don't even use and like whatever. But life skills, right? Life skills. We need to really focus on what to do, how to think, how to emotionally stand together, how to, so I think that everyone right now, we need to take a big look in the mirror. How have you been acting the last few days? Are you bullying people? Like I had a girl not of color call me white and bully me I was like, I'm not even white. The bullying needs to stop and the internet trolling needs to stop. And this is before this all started, right? So don't be afraid of change, but change in the right direction. Use your power in a powerful way, but with positive attached to it. Like say what you want, but say it correctly, say it positively. Give hope. We need hope right now, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, focusing on the right things, having conversations and encouraging each other, right? I think that's the big thing. We're all feeling we're all feeling it in different ways. And just like we were in the pandemic, but look at how we've come out of it, right? And that's not to say that there weren't things that happened that we wish didn't happen, but look at how we actually made it through when it felt like the world literally was closing and it was done for. And here we are. And so that is our resiliency that's being established if we lean into it, because being uncomfortable isn't necessarily a bad thing. We can learn, we can lean into it, and we can see what that is trying to teach us, just like any difficult opportunity. I mean, I remember when I was at the bedside of someone who attempted suicide. That was one of the most sobering moments for me. I know people that had committed suicide, and I know people who thought of it. I remember as a teen, I had, thoughts of suicide, but I had never seen somebody attempt it and it was a failed attempt and come back and hate life so much.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what I realized is there was no hope. There was none. There was none. But it started in the mind. It started in the person's mind. They were absolutely convinced of these things that they had believed as the absolute truth, with no space for any room of conversation, nothing. That was it. Done for.
Yeah.
And, it was so hard for me to be able to, and I didn't try to, but I wanted to. Naturally, I wanted to change their mind, right? I want to be like, no, but look at this and look at that. And, your life matters. But I realized, how powerful our thoughts are, right? What are the lies that we have believed about ourselves, even? Just start at home, start with ourselves, right? And, and then to be careful about what we're listening to and pay attention. I think, the first thing I've noticed is when we want to cast judgment, even in that moment, think, what is inside of me? What is the thought? What is it that's making me want to jump to that right away?
Well, also, if you're going to say something, is it conducive or constructive? Like, is what you're going to say to someone going to help the situation or make it worse? And that's what I'm seeing online. I mean, I had to get off Instagram today because I was like, this is crazy. Like, I can't even read these comments anymore. And it's just, are you helping? Are you hurting? Are you putting someone down? I feel like just because your opinions don't align with other people's doesn't give you the right to put someone down. And I think that's the problem. And for all of you who are asking, okay, well, how do we adapt to change? Like, how do we make these decisions quick? It's like, okay, well, listen, if our mind is the thing controlling us and causing the fear and worry to escalate and grow, just like Cynthia said, it's like, I'm going to just say this. Has anybody ever had a friend, and I've been this person as well, that was in a bad relationship and everybody's like, just break up with them already. Like, I can't tell you enough what's happening. Like, you need to leave the situation. And they're like telling you till the day they die. And then you just get to the point where you stop telling them because you're just like, when they're ready, they'll understand. It's kind of like that. That's how powerful your mind is. It's when it clicks, it clicks. And so you have to train your mind to not wait until things get so bad in your head that the only option you have is suicide. Okay. And the way to do that is when you start feeling overwhelmed. And I know firsthand, you guys, and so does Cynthia, like when you start feeling overwhelmed in your mind and you're just getting smashed with just negative and this is happening and like this is happening and like you start to feel that I just got it right now. I start to feeling that anxiety just even thinking about those 5 things. You need to refocus. You can't change anything that's going on in the world right now. You can't right now what's happening outside these doors, you cannot physically change it, okay? It's going to happen. So the only thing you can do is refocus your attention to what you can change. Where are you? Are you in your home? Do you need to leave your home to have peace of mind? Do you have a friend's house that you can go to? Do you need to be with someone? Figure that out. Logic. I'm feeling, this is what I need to do. Okay? I am feeling anxious, I'm scared, I feel whatever emotion. I'm just using these as example. You guys don't take it as anything else. They're just examples. Whatever you're feeling, combine a logic to it. Okay, well, I'm feeling anxious. I need to go be with a friend. Okay, I'm feeling angry. I need to. Okay, and whatever your solution is for feeling angry, do that as long as it's constructive and not criminal acts. But, you know, you need to attach logic to everything we're doing right now. And once you start doing this, your little bricks that are hitting you with fear, you're going to be too busy focusing on what you're feeling, what your logic is. Okay. And I think right now, everybody just needs to do this. Realign yourself, sit down in a quiet place. I use a closet, sounds ridiculous. But when I start to feeling the world is shutting down on me, I go sit in a closet and the little tiny space makes me feel comforted. I bring a little book with me. I try to just stay in my little bubble. And for 15 minutes, we're not talking days, guys. We're talking 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Throw yoga on your damn TV. I don't care. Do something because this is going to control your mind and it's going to get to a point where your only option in your mind is going to be suicide. And when that happens, that's a slippery slope and you don't want to fall into that. So we want to help you get out of that mindset. We want to help you, you know, and this is of all ages. Okay. We've seen people who have 80 years old commit suicide. We've seen as young as 10 years old commit suicide. The people that I sponsor range from 15 to 35. Nobody's immune to this anymore. So we need to really focus. You need to rechannel, put on a workout. Let me just tell you, I have seen that Adam Sandler movie with Jennifer Aniston at least 4 times already within the last 3 days because it's the only thing that I can escape from the tragedies that are happening and the sadness and the negativity and the evil. And I'm just overwhelmed. I put on a funny movie. Cynthia, what do you do?
Yeah. No, I was just gonna say that. I was thinking of that before you even said those words. I actually have told my husband, like, can you just put on a funny show or something? I mean, we have a list of shows that we'll watch and it just distracts you in that time. And that's okay. And I think also saying that you need help is more than okay,
Yeah.
right? Reaching out to a friend, somebody that you trust, even if you're just like, I need to just yell on the phone, you know? I mean, I have had friends that do that. They're just like, I'm just so upset. And I'm not even talking about this time. I'm talking about just normal life before all of this. I would have friends that are like, I just need someone to vent and listen to. And I know that you'll just listen. And, you know, I just let them do their thing. No judgment, no nothing. And then it's like, it's a safer cathartic release for them. Right. And like you said, working out, it just gets out that energy. It just gets it out of us so that we can have that deep breath in that moment.
Yeah, you guys, anxiety is energy. You need to get it out. When you start feeling that, and some of you who've never had this was our last, we had an episode based on anxiety, what it is, what it does to your body. You need to get it out of you. You need to take, honestly, we're talking minutes. Like I said, a change is within a second. You make that decision, you do it. Like I used to, before going to the gym, I would talk myself out of it. I'd be like prancing around my house, like, do I want to go? Do I want to? No, you have to train yourself like anything else. We were not taught any of this. It's not your fault. It's not our fault that we don't know this as human beings. You need to train yourself to react quickly. Having big brothers, you know this, man. Like big brothers teach you be on your toes 24/7, man. Like I get out of my car and I'm looking around, like because my brother has taught me street smart, right? But like you need to adapt this to your daily routine, everything you do. You know, when you get overwhelmed, know what to do. I always tell the people that I sponsor, write down every night what is your need. And I'm not talking about, and it's confusing when I say that. I'm not talking about you guys when I ask need, like what do you need other people to do for you to feel better? No, no. I mean, what do you need from you to feel better? Is that a bath? Like I was just telling someone earlier, when I'm done with the show, I'm gonna go straight into that bathtub and I'm gonna be there probably an hour because I need to de-stress. But What do you need? I know my needs. Cynthia knows her needs. You need to write them down, stare at them, put them on sticky notes. So when you feel overwhelmed and you're going down that slippery slope of you feel like the world is ending, go look at those sticky notes. Mirrors, I know that people are probably like, what? No, it's like mantras. Put them everywhere.
Visualization.
Whatever you guys need right now, we're here to tell you, we support it, but do it. A lot of people like to say, well, I feel this way and this way, and I give them tools and they don't do them. You need to do these things to train yourself. If another thing, guys, now we're learning anything's possible. Just when I was telling Cynthia on the phone, I was like, just when I thought 2020, we were just coming out of 2020 and quarantine and then, this unfortunate thing happened to someone and it you know, so sad and awful. And now, we're seeing anything's possible during these times. And you just need to understand there's hope. Things will get better. We're here together. Don't give up on anything. Keep going. There are temporary emotions that you're feeling. Try to be as positive as you possibly can. Do your little plan. Like Cynthia and we make a plan for yourself. If you have a hard time, message us, we'll help you. Make a plan. Okay. And what we mean by that is, okay, if I feel anxious, so like we said with emotions, attach a logic to it. Do it when you're done watching this. Attach. Okay, when I feel sad, what do I need? Okay, well, when I feel sad, I'll do this. When I feel anxious, what will make me feel less anxious? Okay, so when I get anxious, that's what I'll do. Write it down. Have like your go-to map of your emotion, right? And then when you're feeling overwhelmed, you already know. Okay, well, on my list, I feel, and sometimes as dumb as it may sound, sometimes we need that. You need a visual. Cynthia was the one who taught me that. Sometimes you need, what was it, Sin, that your brain, once you write it down, your brain actually registers it and seeing it helps you?
Yeah, because you look at it more objectively. And so, and that's why journaling, I was going to actually mention that. It's such an amazing thing is to journal if you need to get that release by writing it out. You can tear up the paper later. I would even encourage you to have a moment when you get a chance to write down your hard times in life and you coming out of that. And the reason that I even do that is because when I'm having a bad day or when I need to encourage myself, I go back and I read the things that I've gone through and how I came out of it when I thought that it was just too difficult and too impossible. Because what we think about and what we tell ourselves is exactly what we're going to believe. Like that becomes our reality.
Absolutely. It is. You guys, whatever you tell yourself, and the thing is, we're so hard on ourselves, right? Like your mental state is combined from when you were a child to now. It's not your fault if you can't handle certain things or you've been anxious. I mean, we've had, I don't know how old you are, but like from the day you were born to now, that is a lifespan of things that you didn't control, you couldn't control. Outside perspectives, outside environments mold you into the person that you are. You can allow it to control who you are, or you can learn from it, grow from it, and become stronger. And that is the difference. We all go through things. The tragedy that I went through ruined my life for completely flipped my life upside down. I look at pictures of who I was then and now I don't even recognize that girl anymore. But it's how you come out of things, right? And this is applies to anything and everything across the board. How you choose to come out of something, regardless if it happened to you or not, okay? How you choose to come out of it is key. And if I would have allowed the tragedy to ruin my life, I would not be here right now, and I don't even know what the other alternative would have been. But it's just taking control of your life. And right now, I think that that's what we need, you guys, because we got the control taken away from us with quarantine and being stuck at home, and some of us were losing our minds a little bit. And we need to refocus, get your control back, and do it in a way that's constructive. You're safe. I hope all of you are safe. We both do. She's in San Diego. I am where I'm at, and we hope that everywhere you guys are just, I think that really we need to just sit down and stay still for a little bit. I think that that's really key to meditating. And I hate to use the word meditate because it puts it in a box, but just even sitting down by yourself and just breathing. You guys, when you're emotional, we don't breathe. My mom tells me all the time, she's like, "You're not breathing." I'm like, "I'm aware." Like, you don't breathe. And just sitting down and calmly just breathing with no sounds on can probably do wonders for everyone right now. And, it's hard, you guys. We're not saying that we're geniuses at this. We work at this every single day. Every single day I do this, and so does she.
And I think one of an important thing too is when I would deal with severe anxiety and panic attacks, where they were crippling. I remember this one time someone had shared with me, when you're in that moment, start thinking and saying out loud things that you're grateful for. And at that time, I'm like, how is that going to help me? Like, I just didn't see the power in that until I had one. And this was like years ago because I don't have them anymore. But I remember that it came back to my mind and I thought, I have nothing to lose. Like, I need this to stop. And so I walked around our house and I was literally just like, I'm so grateful for the roof over my head. And I was literally looking around my entire house to find things. I'm so grateful that I have a sofa to sit on. I'm so grateful for the running water. I'm so grateful for my
You stop
refrigerator.
yourself. Yeah, you
Yes,
stop yourself from it.
exactly. But it also reminds us of how much we should be grateful for. And I'm not kidding you. Within 10 minutes, if even that long, it completely broke. Like, it was just gone. And I'll never forget that. And I encourage people to use that tool because if you really do try it and are faithful to do it, it feels kind of silly, to be honest. But when you're desperate and when you feel like you're in a desperate situation, honestly, almost anything sounds better than what you're feeling in that moment.
Yeah, I remember when I had my last panic attack, and it was the last one I had actually about my brother. And I just remember sitting there and I took a deep breath and I was like, I can't change it. It happened. And once I realized that I couldn't, it was in the past, there's nothing I could do to change it. It was almost like a weird sense of release in a way, I guess, because I was able to actually understand it for the first time, right? I was like, shit, he died. Like, I can't go and get him in the next it finally sat in. And I think that once we understand and you kind of focus on what you can change and the positives, like Cynthia said, the positives of what you have in your house. Like, I don't care if you just look around right now and you're like, I have a nice couch, I have a dog, I have anything to give you hope, a sense of hope, because you're still living, you're still here, you still have shit to do, you still have things to do. Okay, we need to get up, we need to get going. Not currently right now, but in the future. And I think that it's important that we really understand that, you know, it's your mental state. You are in control of your mental state. You can right now tell yourself that your throat's closing and your throat will actually close. That is how powerful your mind is. Don't try it. It's not fun. But I think that once you can grasp that you can also, and it's weird, Sin, like our minds go straight to negativity immediately before they go,
Easy. It's
because that's
easy.
what you're taught too. And as a kid, you're always getting reprimanded, like it. So I think that there was more negative introduced as a child sometimes that kind of can maybe have caused that. But it's so easy for us to be like, oh my God, the world is falling apart, instead of being like, okay, what's the alternative here? Like, this is going to be okay. Everything's going to be okay. We're going to stick together. We're going to stay in the house. We're going to be safe. We're going to do our part. We're going to support people. It's easier to go and complain. Like, I have a very hard time connecting with people who, because Cynthia and I pulled ourselves out of holes, and it's not easy to do. But it's sometimes hard for me when I find people who don't have solutions or don't help themselves. They just complain. And guys, everything you say and you put out there, it's a mantra. You're putting out what you're saying. You're putting negative out into the world and to the other people. I don't know how many times I called Cynthia telling her how the anxiety in LA was in the air. Like, it wasn't even me making anxiety up in my head. It was just, you can sense people's anxiety, you know, when COVID was happening. And it was, for someone like me that's sensitive, I was just like, man, like, this is not me this time. This is everyone. So don't put your negativity out there. Don't release it to the next person. Every right now, guys, the biggest thing too, don't pass along your negativity to other people. We're all going through this together. We're all suffering. This is heavy on everyone, even people like us who get on here to talk to you about how to do this stuff. It's affecting all of us. So be mindful when you call a friend. And if you do need a vent, do it peacefully, do it in a way that, like, they're not going to feel, overwhelmed by you either. We need to be respectful of one another's emotions, because it can be very overwhelming. And then you're going to like, that's what happened with my brother. It was very overwhelming, and you only have a certain amount of people around you, and they can't help you if you're helping, making it worse for them. So be mindful of your emotions,
Definitely. And I also think that we can come out of this stronger with
Absolutely.
everything. We can look back on 2020 and go, what was this year about? But we can walk into 2021 so much stronger. And I think a lot of us, just, if we're being honest, we're very comfortable in our lives. And these things have shaken us and woken us up. But when I have looked and observed and asked questions with people in the military, right? There's nothing comfortable about going overseas and fighting in a war, as an example. Nothing. You're completely not even in your own home environment, your own country, nothing. And you don't know if you're even going to come back. I have family and friends that have served and served in the military. And I've asked them this because resilience has always been a thing for me to want to learn. How do I become more resilient in my life? Right. And so when I asked myself that and I started to ask the questions, and I realized, again, it's so much of the mindset. I know somebody who almost died in one of the wars because a bullet went into his helmet and across his head, and he was bleeding. He didn't know if he was going to make it. And I asked him, "What did you feel in that moment?" And he's like, "I just was hoping that nobody else was injured, and that if I was going to die, that it would just happen quickly." He didn't die. He's lived way past that time. And I thought about that, and I was really thinking about this even during this times, is our minds are powerful, like you said, and our bodies are stronger than what we know and we give it credit for. And we can get through this, and we will get through this. And, as you were saying about, not basically projecting your stuff on people, this is why definitely don't call, somebody you haven't talked to in a long time and then just like, I need to vent to you. Have those people. And that's why it's important to do it sooner than later, where you establish that relationship. Like you and I, we have that relationship. If we're having a bad day, you already know, like if I send you an SOS signal via text or vice versa, you can prepare yourself like, okay, I know who she is, and I think I know what she's going through. So I'm ready for that call. And
Absolutely.
not like a shocking kind of a call, right? We don't want to add to the
Yeah.
trauma of people already.
And you know what, guys? What I use with my friends are emojis. Like, I have certain friends that I know have anxiety, and what we do is we send, if it's really bad, they send a pineapple, and I call them. I'll stop whatever I'm doing, and I'll call him if he needs me, because I know he suffers from anxiety like I do. And, it's okay, you guys, like, buddy up. That's what we always tell
Yes.
people, buddy up. Find the person that you feel the most comfortable. I call her, she calls me. We know we're so, we know each other so well that I know what she needs. She knows what I need. We talk to each other a certain way. I don't get overwhelmed if she has a bad day. She doesn't get overwhelmed. I might overwhelm her a little bit, but she
Yeah.
might. But she tells me when I'm acting great. Like, we have open and honest relationship. So you guys need to find that with someone. It helps tremendously. Make a pact. Okay, if I send you this emoji, this is what this means. And no, stop and go. Call them. Be there for them. Be accountable friends right now, you guys. It's the most important thing. I have friends overseas. One of my best friends is in London, and we check in with each other. How are you doing? I'm good. How are you? Good. Cool. You're stable. I don't have to worry about you right now. Awesome. Like, I love you. Okay. But you need to check in with your friends and try, and like I said, when you talk to each other in a group chat, don't overwhelm each other. Don't post all this crazy stuff in your group chat. Try to maintain positive. Hey guys, do you need anything? I'm going to make a grocery run. Does anybody need me to pick them up? Go to each other's house and spend the night together. Have a slumber party right now. It might help you tremendously. Group team up with your friends. It's just, whatever you guys need. But I think right now we need to be with the people that we love, and we need to be with the friends that we love. Like, my parents don't live in my state, so I consider my friends family. And you know, FaceTiming helps, but just refocus, you guys, re-energize, really write things down, stay safe. But I think that it's key, like we both said, is really just not allowing your mind to take over. And it's harder said than done, trust me. It took me a full a year and a half to get my life back on track when my mind wanted to give up. Just, I wanted to be with my brother. I just didn't want to do life anymore. And it took a while, but you need to understand that it's okay if you feel like this. Just ask for help. Ask for help when you feel like that. If it's getting really bad and this world is overwhelming you and you feel like walls are closing in, ask for help. We have social media. You can ask us for help. This is what we do. Our website will be up soon too, hopefully, right? And so just remember, everything is not going to stay this way. It's going to go back to a good place. Just right now, things needed to change. We needed to evolve. There needed to be, our words need to be said. And I think that we're going to learn from this. We're going to look back and be like, first off, I've already canceled 2020. Like my birthday next year doesn't count. I'm reloading it up. Like I am turning 32 all over. Tell you. So, guys, it's just be easy on yourselves, right, Sin?
Definitely. And then, I was recently studying about neural pathways, and I
Ooh.
encourage any of you who may not know what that is or are intrigued after what I share. So, going back to basically the discipline that you were saying about doing that hard thing, doing the thing over and over and over again, that's really the discipline. And so, neural pathways are basically a certain way, in my very non-sciencey, non-doctor background, a very specific way that we have of a pattern in our thinking for whatever happens in our life. So, for example, as you mentioned, when we were young, that's when they began. But what I found fascinating, so if you just imagine our mind for a second as a forest, right? And let's say you see a path before you that's very well paved and just there's a path. And there may be other avenues you can go, and you want to create a new one. It's going to take some work, right? To clear that path, to get it going. Well, that's how our mind works. So it takes apparently 10,000 repetitions to have something stick. So just to say that it takes time for our mind to be continuously like just changing in the direction we want. So anytime we're faced with an automatic response, we want to pause, and before reacting in that same manner, we want to choose, is this the best way I should respond? Or do I want to start a different way? Do I want to do it a different way? And when you choose that different way, anytime you're faced with a reaction again that wants you to go a certain way, but you want to do it a different way, you need to keep doing it. And they say it takes like 10,000 times. So it's going to take practice over and over and over and over again. But that's why going back to the basics, taking care of ourselves, doing the basics of everyday life. And then what are you focusing on? Right. And then who's your community, or who's that one person? It doesn't have to be a crew of people. Who's that one person that you've established a relationship with, that you can talk and just kind of be like, you know what? I just need to share this with you because this is heavy on my heart. Or I don't know why I feel this way. Help me walk through this. And you and I have people like that in our lives, and we are that for each other. But not undermining the value of these things. And again, it's, having gratitude in our life for what we do have, right? And being grateful for what we do have does not negate the negativity in the world, but it is just a lifeline for us to continue to live day in and day out, so that we understand we do have power, but we may, like you said, not be able to change the outside, the exterior of what's happening. But if everyone takes their stand and does what they can to make a positive difference in whatever capacity that is, moms, let's have the conversations with their kids. Let's teach them young. Let's evaluate our own hearts and see where there could be something that we need to change. Let's think about the things we think about and question them. Be curious about them so that we can become more self-aware, right? Because here's the thing is, we're humans and we're not going to be perfect. It's messy. Relationships are messy, and that's what this whole world is about. Relationships, right? We have to interact with people every single day.
Yeah, no, I agree. And guys, it like we said, it's easy to be negative. It's hard to not be, right? It's easy to wake up and be like, oh God, like today sucks, or and then you tell five of your friends, oh, I had such a bad day. How many times have you heard negative stories like, oh, I got a flat tire today? Like, and they just dwell on it and dwell on it and dwell on it. And they'll tell 10 people that they got a flat tire, but they won't tell you the positive thing that happened to them that day. And these are old things we need to realize as human beings. We need to be accountable of our own actions and what we say and what we do every single day. If anything 2020 has taught us is take accountability for your words and for your actions and everything in your life, because for every time you tell a bad story, like Cynthia says, you're paving a different way of life and your mental, and it's not okay. We need to train ourselves to be positive. Like, I want to be that little fairy in the movies. Like, I want to be the one. You don't want to be the evil monster who's just miserable. Do you know what I'm saying? And just to dumb it down, like, you want to be the inspiring person, you guys. You want to be the person that people call when they need you, and you're able to be there. And if you're in a bad place, you can't. And it takes time. It does. It's not easy. I wake up sometimes and I'm like, I'll call her. We're not perfect. Cynthia even said it, but like they say, it takes 21 times to break a bad habit. How many times are you telling a bad story today? How many times are you posting something negative? How many times, it's hard in the world that we're living in right now, but, you know, just have faith. Have some faith, you guys. It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. As long as we learn from our mistakes and, like she said, teach the children young and be better human beings individually so that we can be better human beings together. And I think that is the biggest thing, too. We need to be better together, but you can't do that if you are not a good, feeling good human. I don't want to
Yeah.
say, but you
Take care of ourselves
yeah,
first.
and
Mhm.
change is good. Let's do this. Let's change the world. We're trying to change suicide. We're trying to suicide is not an option in the world that Cynthia and I live in. It's not. We've created a world where suicide is not an option. We will keep you here. We will help you. We will keep you safe and healthy and mental, but it's not an option. That's just our solution to suicide, right? And it's a different turn than most. And we that's the positive way that we took something so traumatic that happened in our life. We took it, we changed it into a positive thing, and now we're moving forward. Same thing needs to happen with everything that's happening in this world right now. You need to reflect what happened. Let's not do that again, right? What can we do to make it better? How can we save lives in the future? How can we protect the lives currently? How can we protect the businesses and the livelihood and everyone in this disaster, and these traumas that are happening, these it's tough times. It's sad. It's very sad. And what can we do to make it better? Better, keyword better. How can we evolve? Right?
And I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm sure there's some of you out there that might agree with me. I love movies where I see the underdog win, right? And what makes those movies awesome is not that we want them to go through hard times, but life is life. And when we do go through the hard times, through the traumatic times, through the things where we think, oh my gosh, I hope I never live what they lived out, right? And they come out and they are victorious and they win and they move forward and they teach others and they inspire others. That's what our story can be, like collectively as a nation, collectively as a people, and individually. If your life has been recorded and if it was going to be broadcasted as a movie, what are the decisions you're making every single day, right? What if our lives were watched and showcased? Then we would probably choose our decisions differently. We would make different decisions. We would choose our words differently, right? And so I think about those kinds of movies and I think about, wow, look at how hard it was for this person. I mean, I actually met a real life child soldier who's now grown up, and he is the kindest human being. I would have never imagined his past. And it was so inspiring for me. And honestly, when there's difficult times, especially in the world, and even before this, I mean, there's tragedies all around the world. I always try to go and read stories about people that have overcome, people that have led movements, people that have caused and created real change in the world, because I want to know, what did they do? What did they face? How do they feel? Am I the only one that feels this way? And the commonality is no, we all feel the same things, but what we choose to do with it is the complete different of the outcomes.
Yep. I 100% agree with that. My mom was
Something.
the thing is, my mom is in my mind 24/7. I do something, I'm like, what would she say right now? Like, you got to embed that when they're young. But it's true. You need to do things like someone's watching, because you'll check yourself real quick. Like, I'm pretty straight narrowed because that my mother. But the thing is that it's true. Underdogs, the movies, guys. Your life is your own movie, and you're the director.
Yeah.
You're the parts of it. So you get to choose how your life ends. And the thing is if your life was going to end tomorrow, would you be proud? Would you be accepting? Would you, I mean, that's the thing that happened with COVID. All of us were like, whoa, what have I been doing? Or, man, I hated my job, or, oh man, I need to be closer with my family. I need to stop being self-absorbed. And now, even more so, we need to reflect what kind of people we are. What do you believe? What do you stand for? Because it's okay for all of us to have a voice. Have a voice. That's what the whole part of this country is a part of, right? Like, that's why we're in this country. You're allowed a voice, but have a positive one. Don't go slamming people down. Don't go, the bullying. And no, we're going to focus on positivity. We're going to focus on ourselves. When you guys are done with this, go make your need list. Go figure out what you're feeling. Go put logic to it. Find your solutions. Be grateful for everything that you have. Call your friends. Tell them you love them. Call your family. Have a girl over. Have a guy out, like friends. Like, have a slumber party. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Watch a funny movie. Make some popcorn. Do something that's going to just temporarily make you feel okay, and then go on doing, living your life. But right now, you guys need to take care of yourselves. Really, honestly, we can't have any more suicides. We don't, not the answer, not the answer. And this is all this is about, is just protecting you from, being your worst enemy, and letting all the things happen overwhelm you.
Absolutely. And then, if you're in need of encouragement, send somebody an encouraging text, right? And change their day. Do what you hope someone would do for you. Because I guarantee you, somebody that you message, somebody that you call is needing of that very message. And you just never know how these things come around. And I would even say screenshot and save those messages so you can remind yourself, because when people are so grateful that you thought of them, right? They usually will say very nice things and all those kinds of, feel good. And it feels good in that moment. But sometimes we need to go back to those reserves, right? Of what we've deposited, and read them again. Read them about yourselves. I mean, we need to feel better about ourselves so that again, we can help other people and we can do what we're called on this earth to do, and that's to make a change. And I believe that there are real leaders that are rising up in this time, because there always are. There always are people that are rising up to do something that's going to make a positive impact on the world and the generations to come. History repeats itself. There's nothing new under the sun. So just like we've seen massive changes before in the world and in this country, it will happen again. And so let's be on the lookout. Let's send out encouragement. Let's send out that positive energy out into the world that it so desperately needs in this time. And that would make you a key player in a change that you're participating in to make a positive difference that others are going to remember, because you never know how much your words, even a text message, will mean something to somebody that is facing a hard time, a hard day, or they're overwhelmed by what they're seeing on the news. But to know that they were on somebody's mind or on their heart means everything. It changes things.
Yeah, you guys heard it here. Well, you guys, I hope this helped you. Thank you again for tuning in to A New World, New Mind. Normally we're on Sundays. Thank you for watching on a Monday. But next week we'll have another great topic for you. And again, if you guys need anything at all, you know where to find us at Drew's Movement on social media, and Stephani Costanza and Cynthia Maselli, also Connect TV. Thank you guys for having us, and we will see you next week.